I watched literally every game from week 1 and week 2 of the NFL season. Shout out to my Aunt Diane for getting me an NFL Sunday ticket. I also got NFL Game Pass. This allows me to watch games between 30 and 45 minutes, cuts out the parts in between the plays, and cuts out the commercials. So I am overloading with NFL information, and I am going to help you make money off of that. So the first game, which by the time you're watching this is either just about to start or it may have already started, so get your computers ready or whatever you use to bet, is Jaguars-Titans. Now, this is in Jacksonville and with a quarterback who has already played well but is only getting confidence in Gardner Minshew, who has wide receivers with Chris Conley and DJ Chark, who I believe both have played great this year. In fact, DJ Chark, I think in due time is going to be considered one of the best wide receivers in the league. And I'm not saying DeAndre Hopkins or Julio Jones, but I'm saying up in that upper category of wide receivers. I'm really impressed with the way he's played in the first couple of games of his second year. The Titans played good against the Browns, but a lot of that had to do with Browns making mistakes and causing their own issues. It was a pretty close game until Baker Mayfield kind of fell apart a little bit at the end, and the Browns in general fell apart. Whereas the Jaguars, week 2 against the Texans, they were an inch away from beating the Texans, who, by the way, are one of the top teams in the league. Aside from their offensive line, they are one of the most talented teams there is. And the Jaguars were an inch away from beating them. And the Chiefs just came out as a well-oiled machine. The Jaguars weren't sure what was going on, with Nick Foles hurting his shoulder on a touchdown pass. I'm not surprised they lost by 13 to the Chiefs. I think take the Jaguars as a plus 1.5 here. They have the pieces there. Titans are not... I don't know. I don't trust the Titans as much as I trust the Jaguars coming into week 2. The Jaguars are hungry. They still have Jalen Ramsey for the time being. Take the Jaguars at plus 1.5. Now, Bengals and Bills. I think the Bills will probably win the game. They should be the favorites to win the game, as they are. But the Bengals... Now, here's the thing. Even if, for those of you who may be new to betting, even if the Bengals lose, if you bet on the Bengals at a plus 6, the Bengals lose by 5, they lose by 4, they lose by 3, they lose by 2, they lose by 1, you're still winning the bet. The Bills' defense has played good. The Bills' defense is basically what's carrying them to their 2-0 record. The Bills' offense, I do not see enough firepower in their offense to pull away from teams. And a 6-point underdog, the Bengals just have to keep it close for you to win your bet. They don't have a good performance to come off of course. They played terrible against the 49ers. But a lot of the issues there were things that you can fix quickly. Just go into practice and fix the mistakes. It was rookie mistakes throughout the entire game from their entire team. I would say take the Bengals at a plus 6, an 0-2 team who needs to come out and get a win. But even if they don't, you could still win the bet. I say take the Bengals at plus 6. For the Dolphins and Cowboys, here's the thing. Josh Rosen coming in and being named the starter makes things difficult. But they are a plus 23-point underdog, which means the Cowboys will have to win by more than 23 points in order for you to lose money if you bet on the Dolphins. That may sound ridiculous, but the Dolphins have lost by more than 40 on Game 1 and Game 2. Here's the thing. Professionals don't lose by 40 points 3 weeks in a row. If the Dolphins lose by 40 points again, or even 30 points, they are being downgraded to a JV college team. They will no longer be in the NFL. The Cowboys also are at their best. Now, I understand week 1 and 2, they've done a lot through Dak Prescott. He has played great. He deserves a lot of respect for his performance during week 1 and week 2. But they are at their best historically, within the past few years, when they run the ball a lot, they control the tempo, they slow things down. That does not allow for a 24-point victory. Barring what happened with the Dolphins last week against the Patriots, where they threw 2 pick sixes and honestly just fell apart in the second half. I say, of course, the Dallas Cowboys are probably going to win, and they're going to win comfortably. But the Dolphins are a professional team coming off 2 40-point losses, and they are 23.5-point underdog. Take the Dolphins. Falcons and Colts. Jacoby Brissett, he's getting comfortable. He's the best backup in the league. Well, he was the second best backup in the league behind Nick Foles. Nick Foles signed his contract with the Jaguars, putting him as a starter. Brissett came into the preseason as the best backup in the league. Andrew Luck retired. This gives him his chance to start again. He has started in the past, but now I think is a perfect time. And he has played great. The thing is here, now this is coming from an Eagles fan who just watched his team lose to the Falcons. I don't think the Falcons are very reliable so far. They relied a lot on their pass rush. And Jacoby Brissett, one, looked extremely hard to take down from what I've seen during the first 2 weeks, especially week 2. The amount of sacks that he broke out of was incredible. And 2, the Colts offensive line allowed the least amount of sacks in the league last year. The pass rush is not going to work as well against the Colts. Jacoby Brissett is a great backup, and now he moved into a starting role. Yes, he had a knee brace on. Yes, Marlon Mack is questionable. But I think the Colts, as a 1-point favorite, should be the team you take in this situation. Matt Ryan has looked like a mess at multiple times during this year. For instance, week 1 against the Vikings, he couldn't even throw the ball away correctly. He tried to throw the ball out of the end zone, and it went right to the Vikings quarterback, and he threw a pick. He also threw multiple interceptions against the Eagles, and that is the number one way to lose a game, is to turn the ball over. So considering Matt Ryan has not looked good, the Falcons don't look very reliable, their pass rush is not going to be as efficient against the Colts team. Now, despite the fact I know Darius Leonard being hurt is going to be a big issue, he is questionable. There is a possibility he will play. But I say the Colts as a -1 favorite, take the Colts. Baltimore Ravens and Chiefs. Now, Tyreek Hill being out will hurt the Chiefs for sure. That will make things a lot harder for them. They are a well-oiled machine. I do expect them to be productive, of course. The Baltimore Ravens have played great throughout the first couple of weeks. They have one of the best defenses in the league. In fact, they may have the best defense in the league with Lamar Jackson as a dual threat quarterback who's streaking. He's been passing well. He's running amazing, especially week 2. The Baltimore Ravens are rolling. And the Baltimore Ravens are 6-point underdogs, which means you have some wiggle room there. The Chiefs' top 2 running backs are both questionable. And so even if Tyreek Hill is out, right, and you still think that their offense is a good enough system and you trust Andy Reid enough to have a great system there, their top 2 running backs are questionable. If they miss, that's going to hurt their run game drastically, which is also going to harm their pass game. The Ravens secondary is not as terrible as the Raiders secondary, who's historically over the last few years allowed a ton of deep passes, and the Chiefs proved that in week 2. The Ravens defense will be able to keep it close even if they don't win. I say take the Ravens as a +6. Raiders and Vikings. Vikings have had it together the first 2 weeks. I think they have played well. They did lose against the Packers, but the Packers have also played well. Their defense is much improved. Aaron Rodgers had a good second game. They lost, but I don't take too much away from the Vikings in that sense. The Raiders beat a Broncos team who looked all right. They're able to keep games pretty close, but the Raiders just have too many question marks. The Vikings have a great defense led by Xavier Rhodes, Harrison Smith, and the Raiders' top wide receiver is Tyrell Williams, who is not a number 1 wide receiver, traditionally. Josh Jacobs as well has been extremely sick. Their top running back, who's given them a lot of production over the first 2 weeks, he lost 10 pounds because of the flu this week. I don't know how healthy he'll be. If he does play, I don't know how effective he can be. I say take the Vikings as a 9-point favorite. They look smooth. They did lose week 2, but I still like the production they got out of there, and the Raiders just have too many question marks on both ends of the field. Jets-Patriots, this one is also an interesting one. The Jets were reliant, like extremely reliant. They had no other options besides Le'Veon Bell week 2. He was their entire offense. I think if not almost, over half of the yards were Le'Veon Bell during week 2. I don't remember precisely. Not to mention, because of mono and because of another injury to their backup, they are going to be using their third string quarterback, Falk, who I barely know anything about. They were able to score 3 points against the Browns, and the Patriots are rolling like crazy. Now, this is one that I have a little bit of hesitancy with, because anytime you take somebody at a plus 22, or you take the 22-point favorite, there's a lot of risk involved. Because even if the Patriots win by 20 points, they could win 42-24, and you would lose the bet. But I say with a little bit of hesitancy, because of all the question marks the Jets have, and that their only source of offense is Le'Veon Bell against a Patriots system where they know exactly how to take out players. Like, if you're going to trust any team to have a good system going against a team that has one mode of attack, you're going to take the Patriots. So I say, hesitantly, take the Patriots as a 22-point favorite. They're going to win for sure, but in terms of 22-point favorite, I take that one hesitantly. Now for the Denver Broncos and Green Bay Packers. This one I left for last for a reason. The Packers have not pulled away week 1 or week 2. Week 1, their offense was terrible. They relied on their defense mixed with a bad performance from the Bears offense, and they won 10-3. That's not super encouraging. Not to mention, Darnell Savage is hurt. He's been a big part of their defense being improved. He is questionable, though. He may come in and play. The Broncos have kept it close both week 1 and week 2, and they're a professional team that started 0-2. So they're due for a win, and the Packers have kind of won 2 games, but not in a dominant fashion. I would say this. This one I'm leaving up to you. If you believe Aaron Rodgers is due to have another one of his classic games that he's had throughout his whole career, and people have yet to see for a minute now, then I would say take the Packers as a 7-point favorite. If you think the Broncos have kept it close week 1 and 2, and they're a professional football team that has 0 win, that have not won either 1 week or 2, that did not come out right. And they're a professional team that lost week 1 and week 2, so they're hungry, and they're probably going to come out looking sharp. Take the Broncos. This one I do not know, and I left it last for a reason. I'm not quite sure. Take it with a grain of salt either way. So, those are my predictions for the first 8 games of the NFL, or NFL Week 3. Let me know what you think. Do you disagree with me on any of these points? Do you agree with me? Let me know down in the comments. Please like the video. Please subscribe. Stay tuned. I'm going to be having part 2 later in the week before the games start on Sunday. Thank you very much and have a great day.